Disgraceful.
Disgusting.
Despicable. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Disgraceful, Disgusting, and Despicable podcast. I'm Useful Engine 11, aka Useful.
I'm the Sudrian.
I'm Gordon Fan04, aka at Fan04 Gordon, but I don't use that name, so I'm just Gordon Fan04.
Exactly. And today we are here for a special yet also serious episode today. But before we get into that, I'd just like to say at the recording of this episode, it's July 14th, which is the anniversary / birthday of Thomas and the Magic Railroad.
Woo!
So we have a little mini devoted episode to that, but that won't come until, let's just say, after the 26th, because we're going to be doing our little thoughts on the Tatmar parody, but of course we have to watch it, so we're going to be watching that, and yeah. So
that's something for you guys to look forward to.
Exactly.
Useful, do you want to explain what we are going to do in this episode?
Right. So we're going to be talking about a few Thomas theories that we've been thinking about. Like, we all got to choose our own. But first,
not just Thomas theories, but also Thomas mysteries. And I know that there's already some guy out there named Solomon who's doing that. But I really want to talk this out in this podcast.
So go check out Community Radio. They do some pretty interesting and wacky stuff on there. But don't forget to also check out our podcast channel as well, of course. But anyways, So let's get into this. But hold on a second. We can't do this right now because of the fact, well, it's too cheery. So let's get serious. Alright, So Sudrian, since you have a few mysteries on your mind, how about you go first?
Sure. My first theory and mystery is, well, it stems from the fact, like, what happened to all the old characters that used to appear in the Thomas Tank Engine series? Like, what happened to, like, Boko? What happened to Duke? What happened to, like, what's his name? Arthur.
Oh.
Like, and D261 and like, what happened to these engines? Like, and Derek as well. Like, do they go, like, I want to discuss about that because they first appeared in their specific episode, but they never, reappeared. They never return again.
D261 was sent back to the other railway, so that's why we do not see.
Well,
and
that also goes the same for the Horrid Lorries as well.
And that's the other thing. A lot of the steam locomotives that arrived on the island of Sodor, if they were returned back to the other railway, are they scrapped? Because
yes, they are. Because steam is no longer in priority in the 60s.
Because the thing is that Thomas the Tank Engine, the setting of Thomas the Tank Engine takes place around the 1950s, 1960s, which is around the time that steam locomotives were being scrapped and out of service. So, as you know, because Thomas takes place around that time era, a lot of engines that appeared in the show but they were never seen again. Like, my only question is what happened to them? Like, are they dead? Are they scrapped? What's going on? Are they in a preservation railway society, railway heritage railway, whatever? But what happened to them is my question, and that's a theory that I want to discuss about, because my theory is that some of the engines are scrapped. Boko is scrapped because if you realize this, if Boko was sent back to British Railways, right? You have to understand something. I was doing a little bit of research, and Boko's class, they were all getting scrapped in the scrapyard, right? His class was like he's a failed diesel, let's just say, and all of his brothers, they were scrapped. So if Boko was to be sent back to the other railway, does that mean that he is scrapped? Like, he's not reappeared in the series again. Duke, on the other hand, here's another theory of mine. What if Duke doesn't actually exist? What if Thomas was just telling a story that doesn't exist?
But then that means the narrow gauge engines aren't canon.
No, he knows the narrow gauge engines. He's discussed what the narrow gauge engine is, but he made a fictitious story that are associated with the narrow gauge engines. What if Duke never existed? Because, like I said
Well-
again, he never appeared again. So what if it's
Yeah,
just,
he appeared in season 7. He just didn't have a speaking role.
He didn't appear in season 7.
Yeah, he did. He appeared with stock footage.
Oh,
yeah, but stock footage doesn't mean anything.
technically, it kinda
Really?
does.
I mean, they put it in there.
I
Why
mean,
would they put a thing of Duke in season 7? It makes no sense.
yeah, but in season 7 they had stock footage of the flying kipper from season 1. So
Well,
having
yeah, 'cause they were. No, so my whole thing is like, why would you put a thing of Duke in there?
Because
if it doesn't matter about the character, and literally that episode has nothing to do with Duke. So
well,
think about
here's
this.
one thing.
I think their whole thing was like, oh yeah, do you guys remember Duke? He still exists, right?
No,
I
no,
think
no,
that's
no,
what they're
no.
trying to do.
I think no, because the thing is that the reason they use stock footage of Duke is because, all right, this is gonna get a bit more complicated what I'm about to say, and a lot of you might not understand what I'm about to say. But back in the day, the people who made Thomas the Tank Engine, they shot Thomas the Tank Engine on 35mm film, right? So
Yes.
they didn't have a lot of 35mm film, so sometimes they would just take old stock footage from previously recorded clips from previous seasons, and they just apply that to
I know, but why would they use one of that? Why would they use one of Duke?
I don't know, like I think
I mean, it was their effort to remind people, like, oh yeah, Duke's a character that still exists.
So, what
They could sell
episode?
toys.
Basically, so you're saying it was just like a season 4 clip, but like stock
Mhm.
footage used. Okay, what
It's
episode
the
was
clip
it?
of it's. I think it's in the flying horse one where Percy's like, Pegasus, the flying horse, or something dumb like that.
Yeah, that's just stock footage. So yeah, so technically he
So-
wasn't in. And plus,
And, like-
we also have to remember that his model was used for Bertram later on in season 5.
I know, but it was repainted back.
Really?
Mhm.
Interesting.
also
They repainted it,
here's
gave
an-
it matte thing.
Also, another theory slash mystery that I want to discuss about is who are the scrapped engines on Sodor? Like, those scenes where, let's just say, I'm just gonna give one example. Like, that episode, Old Slow Coach. When Percy and Thomas they meet Old Slow Coach, who are those other scrapped engines on Sodor?
Probably
one of
City
them is-
Churro.
One of them, City of Turo, went to the UK at the end of such a
Also-
letter.
And also, I think there was a scrapped version of Toad right next to Old Slow Coach.
Okay, so here's my prediction. They were train parts, but when they were building steam locomotives on Sodor, they built steam locomotives, and the train parts, they sometimes made issues with the train parts. Because Topham would never make an engine and scrap them, because he's against scrapping steam engines.
No, but
So,
why do I see
my-
the
my
engine
whole-
body?
Yeah, my whole thing is that they made the engine body, but it didn't fit on the whatever it had in some issue, so they scrapped the engine body, but keeping this engine's personality. And then once they finished it, the engine's personality came, or something.
And
So
that's
then
and
those
that-
are just scrapped engine parts that were never used.
And here's the other thing, actually. Henry during the Flying Kipper accident?
Yes, that theory about is there like one version of Henry or two?
I actually kind of believe that there's two Henrys.
All right.
I think that there is
explain
one
yourself.
Henry.
I'm gonna have to go with Gordon on this one. I don't think there was another Henry.
I mean, yeah, I don't know really because like
How does Henry keep the same personality?
And how does he keep his same face?
You can't say, oh, his personality changed, because that was in season 6, and the crew purposely did that to make a dumbed down version of the TV show. So yeah.
yeah, I guess.
And fan series, who explain it very well, fan series, they do not count because they are not canon. Now, I like what a lot of fan series have done with the two Henry thing, but
I guess
I would like to implement that, but it's just
I guess-
strange. How does Henry keep the same personality? I do not believe that there are two Henrys.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not buying that either.
I think that that's just a theory. It's kind of like the same thing of when Thomas fell off the set and Trust Thomas and all his parts went down into a drain. I also do not believe that because why would there just be water on it? It makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another mystery and theory that I want to discuss about is what happened to the spiteful Brakeman after he got smashed into pieces.
He died.
Or okay,
He's
there are
dead.
there are two possibilities. He was either rebuilt or scrapped. Those are the only two options, really.
Well, here's my prediction of how the faces are on there. You can kill the rest of the engine's body as long as you do not kill their smoke box. Or, for instance, a board, the front board on the truck.
Yeah, okay. Kind of, it's basically the same with Scruffy. Like when Oliver pulled him apart, his face is still intact, and same with the front.
Yeah, that's the thing in my theory, and also how if they were supposedly two Henrys, they pulled off the smoke box, and did modifications to it, and then put it back onto the other body, and all of a sudden there. But I do not believe in the two Henrys theory, because I don't think it's necessary to make two Henrys when you can just do modifications on it, and it's whatever.
Exactly. I mean, they only had to give him like a larger firebox and he didn't need like Welsh coal anymore.
And by the way, we're going by TV series logic, not railway series. That's how
Yeah.
because in the railway series, sure, Audrey stated it, but I don't think they did that in the TV series.
Because they wanted to,
this is not a mystery or a theory, but it's just something that you just think about all the time, which kind of like hits you deep down. But you know that image from there was like this railway series illustration where there were like these two engines in the scrapyard, and there was like this guy holding a torch about to like scrap the engine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. There could be so many possibilities with that engine. Like, maybe he was saved, just like Stepney.
Oh, is it
Maybe.
that engine that his face lost all the gray color?
Yeah.
That photo? Oh, okay. So my prediction with that is that once they get to a certain point of decay and they're left in rust, he's in like the transformation of losing his face. So once they're at a certain point of decay, and obviously I do not believe that that's happened on Sodor.
Also, the guy who's holding a torch, right? Like, he realizes that in this universe of reality, like, there's like talking machinery, right? But like, even though it's just machinery, but in this world, because it's talking, it has feelings. Doesn't this guy with the torch not realize that he's literally just killing something? Like, he's just killing some being with emotions.
Okay, my whole thought on that is
it's basically like well, okay, so what I think is that they're just some people who just don't care, like that think it's just because it's a machine doesn't mean that it doesn't have feelings. But of course, I think the guy in that picture was just trying to do his job and dispose of
maybe
what
support
they
his
thought.
family or all this other stuff that you have to do. So another thing that I am gonna say is
But I wasn't just talking about the one that had no, like, I'm not talking about the one that was completely rusted. I'm talking about the one that was literally like closer up, like
Exactly. Yeah, that one.
that engine. First of all, what happens to him? Like, we realized the fate of the one that was completely rusted, the one that has like a darker face, right? That's his face is like completely rusted.
That's rough. Let me also say something. You wanna know what proves my theory of the engines after a certain point of decay, they lose their grain and like rust grows all over them? You wanna know what proves my theory? Oliver in Escape has rust growing on his face.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yes.
So that proves my theory.
Also, but we know the fate of the engine that's completely rusted in that illustration. His fate is that he's about to basically go into the grave because he's about to get scrapped. Like,
Let
literally,
me look up that photo now that I'm thinking about it.
because like
Might
that
as well.
that guy, he's literally about to like cut off some metallic piece or part from the engine, which I would probably think that it would be painful for an engine. Um, but what happens to the engine that's not completely rusted? The one that's looking back. What
I
happens
think
to him?
Gosh,
Does he
that looks a lot like City of Turo.
like does he get scrapped? Does he get saved? Like, I want to know what happens to that character. Like, that's a question that was always in my head, and that illustration always hit me
Also,
deep down.
also look, behind them. There's a faceless engine.
Which means that that engine is technically already dead.
Yeah, cause look, his smoke box is now completely like rusted, all completely over, which
Yeah,
means
and
yeah,
because
it's almost like an engine growing of old age. If they don't take care of themselves and they aren't taken care of, they're gonna pass away. It's almost like growing old of age.
yeah,
Except, yeah.
but we know what happens to the engine that is, like, we know what's happening to the engine that's completely rusted over. He's still alive. He still has a face. It's just rusted. We know the
Okay,
fate. He's
let
about
me
to
also
get
say
scrapped.
something. This tells another story because the guy that's holding the torch has like how people like have the little check and they hold that up to their face when they're thinking.
Yeah.
He looks like he's doing that. So what if he's wondering? What if he's wondering about like not scrapping the steam engines?
that
It
is
could
true.
it could be possible. It could be possible.
Because I mean,
And
that's what I think what's happening because he has like his hand up to his face like,
yeah,
am I gonna be
it does look
scrapped?
like he's thinking. It does look like he is thinking
By the
about
way,
what he's doing.
Plus
By
the
the way,
fact that
this Adrian, I know you're not supposed to watch podcasts, but will you put up a picture of that image on screen so the people that are actually looking at the podcast can see what we're talking about?
yeah,
You know what? That's a good idea. I'll pull up the picture of what
I'll send you
illustration
the
we are
picture on
talking about.
Twitter.
of
I'll
course,
send you on Twitter.
all right.
No, I know
so-
what you're talking about. I know that's yeah. But yeah, I'll
So-
definitely put it up for the viewers. And
Also, another thing is that like they're all like the two engines. They're also like looking at him as well. Like they're wondering like, what's his next move? Are we going to the Cutter's Torch, or are we going to be saved? Like, what's going to happen here?
yeah, we know, like I was trying to say before, the engine that has a completely rusted face. We already know the fate of his, about to be scrapped. He's gonna be cut. He's gonna be cut into pieces soon, right? But the engine that doesn't have a completely rusted face, what is his fate? Is he gonna be saved? What's his fate? Because
He's
Stephanie,
not at the point of decay to where being scrapped is necessary.
because the thing is that he could be saved easily, because there was a lot, like, all right, so back in the 1960s and 50s, there was a lot of like railwaymen enthusiasts. They went to scrapyards
Yes.
and they repossessed engines. So just like the story where Oliver gets saved by one of the Caledonian twins.
Isn't that like why of some of the Black Five is like alive? Or why
guess-
Flying Scotsman was saved? Because Flying Scotsman was stuck in America for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think that's
that
what
is
it's
true.
around.
Also, I just looked up a picture. Okay, so while I was looking up the picture of the two engines, like in the Workman, I also found a picture of Oliver, and by looking at his face, while it is also sad, it just goes to show how dirty and grimy he is. Not just his body alone, but also his face, all the way up to his funnel as well.
I know this is stupid, and I know this is not true, and I do not believe in the Timothy thing. But if
Okay.
there was somehow Timothy, and obviously Sudden does not have to put this on screen, but you guys can go for the wiki for yourself. There is a Thomas shell, an E2 shell, that is scrapped in so many different countless amounts of shots. You can see it everywhere. And it's in this scrapyard. It's by where Oliver is passing by or whatever. And there's the front of the city of Chiro, and then there's also City of Chiro, which was also repurposed into a scrap engine.
Yeah.
Well, just his shell. So, does that mean City of Chiro's canonly dead?
No,
I
because
guess
in real life,
not really.
Let me send the photos to the Twitter
Guys.
chat that we're in.
City of Truro is still in working it's still in on the rails today, so it
So
wasn't scrapped.
okay, so I guess let's come to an agreement about that as well. Like, let's say he's dead in the show, but is still alive in the real world. So technically,
No,
the
no, no,
only
no. It could be like another engine in his class.
But
Let's
did you
just say.
see? Did you
Like
see what
technically,
I said in the Twitter chat about the pictures of those scrapped engines and how you can see an E2 that is you can throw them up on screen, but you can see an E2 that is
Mhm.
in countless amounts of shots. But I showed the best close up that we have of him.
But like
I believe.
City of Truro is still alive, even in the Thomas universe. But
Oh yeah.
maybe the identical engine of like maybe his maybe it could be like another engine from the same class of City of Truro that got scrapped.
Yeah. I also so like then so they repurposed engines that broke or like shells of engines that broke into scrap engines. In the actual show. So well
I
like
think
not in the canon universe, but like in the model making of the show they did that.
I
So
think
that's why you see
maybe
so many films.
I think maybe the engines that we see that are scrapped, which look like the engines in the show. I think the reason why we see that is probably those are probably the engines of the same class as all the main characters in the series. Like you know how you see like a scrapped model of Gordon. Yeah, well let's just say that's just a scrapped A3 of the from the same class of his, like one of his
hmm.
brothers. And if you see a scrapped E2, that's just Thomas's brother who is now long dead. So.
Okay, yeah,
So
that makes sense because wasn't it around this time also that Thompson's brothers were also being taken out of service?
All right. Well, here's the other thing. Thomas's brothers were probably scrapped around the 30s or 40s
the
because
E2s did not last a long time. They
the
were
E2s did not last.
yeah,
Like,
they were meant to be on like dockside areas or small little shelters, but they came around the time I think when the Class '08 became a thing, and
all right,
everyone was like,
because
yeah.
the E2s were made in 1915. So if it was made in 1915, then that means all of his brothers would have been dead by maybe the 30s or 40s,
Well,
before
then
the
again, you
50s.
gotta admit that is a pretty good lifespan, if I'm being honest.
I mean, it's still before the 50s. Like, let's just say that
Exactly.
all the E2s were scrapped before the 50s. So and Gordon's class was probably scrapped all the way up until the 50s, and Edward and his class. All right, now Edward is another thing I want to say, because Edward, his class, the K2 class, right? They're
Yeah.
long gone, even way before the E2s were built. The K2 class was long gone before even all the other engines were built. Like, because Edward was built in the 1800s, like around the 1880s to 1890s, so his class is already long gone.
I have also found another photo that I've sent to the Twitter chat, which is almost a better close up. But you can also yeah I heard Usel's phone. You can also throw it
Yeah.
on screen.
Yeah.
If you
So-
obviously edit it in,
So-
but there's a better look at that engine. So, I mean, if it turns out that is Timothy, I do not believe that Timothy went crazy and murdered passengers. I don't believe that.
I don't believe that.
Okay.
I
What
think
I believe,
alright,
Yeah.
first of all,
Timothy,
Timothy, in my opinion, was just a stupid story, okay? And I don't believe that it's part of the Thomas, series.
Okay, no, but if there happens to be some kind of entity of Timothy, this is the only version, which is my own thing of Timothy, that I will accept. Timothy was an engine brought onto Sodor, but since they had 1 through 5, they made him number 0. So he was number 0, and he helped with Thomas around that time. But then he had an accident, not by killing passengers, but had like a super serious accident to where he was already gone by the time that they picked him up. And then he was gone to the scrapping area. So that's why we see all those pictures of an E2. Even though obviously that's just Thomas's shell. It's just
Yeah.
if there is a Timothy, that's the only thing I will accept, but I don't believe in Timothy.
So
Yeah, me neither.
For me, so I have seen in my time on YouTube, I have seen many versions of Timothy's story. Either he went insane, was possessed by a demon, had a right to kill someone that he despised, or either it was an accident and something went wrong. It wasn't his own fault, but still something bad happened. So of course, well, I don't know which. Even though this whole Timothy creepypasta thing is not really even real, it's still a nice little like fan series. And of course, when Halloween comes around, the first thing I think of is Timothy. But of course, in all honesty, I think the Timothy thing, of course, is made up. But if it is real, then maybe it could be interpreted to the fact that he didn't kill anyone. He basically, something just happened. Maybe like he couldn't stop, and like he just kept on going faster and faster. But at the same time, he was trying to stop, and of course he plunged off the so-called viaduct that was
I
under
found
repair.
another photo of a scrap engine, of a ghost engine this time, which I will also send to the Twitter chat. If you guys aren't seeing these on screen because for some reason Cedrian forgot to put them on screen, then go to the Thomas Wiki and you can find them. But if you could see that picture of a scrap engine
Right next to Fergus.
No, not that one. I just sent a photo. No, not the scrap engine. A ghost engine. The one that doesn't have it's Douglas's model, but doesn't have a tender. That's something that was in a promotional art.
Oh.
I don't know what that is, but I don't think. Oh yeah, and then there's that picture of another Halloween ghost thing.
Okay, and like there's also the one in Magic, and I guess it's a coincidence that I'm saying this, but in the shot with Diesel 10, Splatter, and Dodge, like backing into the shed, like there's also that scrap engine that looks like Thomas a little bit.
Yeah,
That also could probably be Timothy as well.
So, alright, so I have another question. Who is the ghost train in the beginning of, the season 2 episode, the ghost train?
Percy with Dreamers.
Thank you, Gordon. Exactly. But however, at the same time, you could like have an imagination. Like, think about it. Some people interpret that story with Timothy's story, and Percy tries to make it sound like it's almost real, but when it's not.
It's not real. That's why Timothy isn't real. I just canceled everything about Timothy.
Yeah, but still, people will use that story no matter what you basically say. I mean,
I like Diesel D199's interpretation of Timothy. He's just making fun of the thing the entire time.
Yeah, I love that. I love that short. That's the classic. And
definitely.
Honestly, that's how it should have been in a nutshell. If I'm being honest, if the story was actually true.
Yep. Also, another Thomas theory and mystery that I want to talk about. Well, maybe mystery, I don't know. But, or question, like, who is Boulder?
Boulder? Oh.
Yeah.
Boulder's the Boulder?
Okay, I think I know what you're getting at. You're wondering, like, how the heck does he have a so-called face? Well, I'm thinking that's just what comes out of his inner soul. When I think about it, he doesn't actually have a face, but like
he's a Mysterio fellow.
It's definitely something supernatural, Boulder.
Okay,
and
basically, so like what I was trying to say, like I think that just comes like from his inner self. Like on the outside, he's just a big, round, mysterious boulder, but on the inside,
with Gordon's face.
Okay, maybe, but like on the inside, he's just someone who's longing for peace without being disturbed. But
that's whose face he has. All this time, like, does that look like? So that looks like an engine's face, and it's Gordon's face.
Yeah, and I just want to know the origins of the boulder. Like, how does he exist? What, how does he exist? How does it move on its own? I mean, obviously, we already have talking trains. How do we have a talking boulder, a talking rock? Or not a talking rock, but like a living rock, let's just say.
If I'm being honest, it's basically the equivalent on how that tumbleweed is alive in Thompson the Magic Railroad, or how Pinchy
That was just a retarded little scene.
Or how Pinchy can actually, have a little personality of his own.
Which is
What
also
does the
retarded.
tumbleweed say? He goes like, "Yeah, you're going to."
It's just,
Like, Thomas-
in my opinion, that was just kind of stupid, to be honest.
Like
That's
Thomas is like, I promise I'll get you home, Lily. Follow me, partner. Whoa! Right this
Alright,
way to
alright.
Popperville. Just
Other-
a walk in the park.
Guys. Other than the tumbleweed, alright, other than the stupid tumbleweed and Pinchy having its own personality, other than that, I'm just talking about Boulder and why he's, alive and, but forget about tumbleweed. Forget about the tumbleweed. Let's just discuss about Boulder, please, not the tumbleweed.
Hey,
The tumbleweed deserves its own episode. Theories on the tumbleweed.
Like, basically, if they do a character gallery episode on community radio about the tumbleweed, I will flip.
Yeah, they need to. I'm gonna DM Lemmy, be like, hey, can you make a character gallery on the tumbleweed weed? Okay,
Yeah.
let's get back to some theories. So
It looks kind of like actual,
Yeah, but anyways, I think we should wrap up the Boulder theory, and then I think either one of me or Gordon should discuss our theories that we have.
All right.
okay, my theory, is looking at characters that I have.
Alright?
That I made customs of. What happened to Pip and Emma? So we do not see them ever again since the last Railway series book.
Well,
What
it's
happened
obvious
to
they it's obvious they never made it to the TV series, so that's a start.
Yeah, but like I think after the I think after the Railway series. I know this is weird, but I think didn't they replace the Express or whatever?
Basically,
Yeah, because Gordon retired, didn't he?
yep.
Sorry, I haven't read the book because I do not own it, but I'm pretty sure Gordon retired.
He retired?
Yep, spoiler alert, even though it's not really a spoiler. Gosh, I love Gordon. Like, he has some of the best character arc in the Railway series. Like, he
And that's
starts
why
off with being new and then he gets outdated, and it's just wow. It's like how everything comes to a close.
And that's basically why you're Gordon fan 04, and you say Disgraceful.
Indeed.
But yeah.
And I do not say disgusting.
Yeah, but I say it's Despicable, so technically it's a three-way thing here.
I triggered
Ew.
Sundry.
I really should have chosen FSP over you, Gordon. Like,
Wait, no!
I wish I could say Disgraceful. Come on.
Well, dude, just live with it. Just live with it until.
Alright.
But yeah, Pip and Emma. We really don't know what happened to them. Of course, I've also made a custom of Pip and Emma. Please go check it out on my YouTube channel. Anyways,
go check out my YouTube channel as well.
I will make
Hey.
a custom showcase on my Pip and Emma. Maybe. It's a maybe.
Oh, by the way, speaking of YouTube channel, I'm just gonna repeat this one more time. Just even though you're watching our podcast, but we would appreciate so much that if you go and subscribe to the three of our channels, like
Go down
subscribe,
into the description.
go subscribe to my channel called the Sudrian. Link will be in the description. Go subscribe to Useful's channel. Link will be in the description. Go subscribe to Gordon's channel. Link will be in the description. Also, we will also put our links to our Twitter accounts. So go follow us there as well, and we will also put it in the description below.
Also, go subscribe to my second channel, Useful Ninja 11 Productions. And if you people out there have Instagram, go follow me on Instagram as well.
Guess who hit 200 followers on Twitter?
Gordon
You did.
Fan 04.
Woo, party, green screen party effect. No, don't do that.
Celebrate.
Guys, we should celebrate at the end of the podcast.
Yes, we need to celebrate the end of the podcast. But let's get back to our serious tone because it kind of derailed. So
Yeah,
back
I
to
can
again,
agree.
Back to again on the scrapped engines, or what other theories do you guys have? We were talking about Pip and Emma.
Okay, so I have my theory, but Gordon, do you want to wrap up that one?
I think Pip and Emma still exist because we don't know what happens after the Railway series, but obviously there's something. But what if, like, after the Railway series, what if, wait, is Steven in control of the Railway? Is Steven the controller of the Railway at the end of the Railway series, or is it Charles?
I don't know. Just you saying that alone gives me Milk Tanker Media vibes.
Okay, I have two more theories that I want to discuss before we go on to useful. Um,
Are
my
you sure? Because I've been waiting for so long to get to these,
Yeah,
and
it'll
I'm
just be
excited.
it'll be quick. It'll be quick because like
All right,
it's
let's do
two
this.
ones. So what happens to old Slow Coach after season 5? Because we don't see her again,
She
and
goes to the Little Western. Well, I like to think that she goes to the Little Western. I don't know
Maybe
about
she was.
that.
You know what? Maybe she was taken to the Bluebell Railway.
That's actually a really good theory.
Because I saw. Okay, so another series that I also love is called Arsdale Productions. I'm
Oh
pretty
yeah,
sure.
I watched that guy.
Yeah, he just recently made an episode where Stepney, after she was after like she was the wedding package and all that stuff, she went to the Bluebell Railway with Stepney.
oh yeah,
So
that's true. That's true. Oh
so
yeah,
maybe that's something.
and my second theory is, all right. So this is gonna be outside of the railway series and the actual Thomas the Tank Engine series. This is actually gonna be more focused on Thomas fan content, and I'm gonna allow this. All right, but you know, Sudden Conflict.
Yes.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
in Sudden Conflict, you know the Caledonian twins, right?
Yeah.
Donald and Douglas, yes.
So
Wait, we can't spoil Southern Conflict without giving a disclaimer.
oh, by the way, for anybody
Disclaimer.
disclaimer, if anybody has not watched Southern Conflict, spoiler alert, because we're about to spoil it for you. So I would recommend that you pause this video or not see this video and go check out Southern Conflict first and then come back. So
Yeah.
and we warned you, so we warned you, okay? So
Yes.
You
But
have been warned.
you've been warned. But anyways, so you know how around the time Donald and Douglas was on the Isle of Sodor in Southern Conflict, it was around, I think 1956 is what it was the year, right?
Yeah,
So-
they were sent back.
So they were sent back. So, as you know, the Caledonian twins, well, one of them brought their other twin so that the other twin didn't have to get scrapped. So obviously they both went back instead. They not just one stayed, but both went back. So does that mean that in the Southern Conflict universe, as we continue on in the series, does that mean that in that universe, did they get scrapped by the end of the series by 1968?
I believe that they have gotten scrapped, or they are on. Wait, when did Donald and Douglas's class die? Donald and Douglas, because they have a certain class. Okay, let me look.
Of course, the Caledonian engines is the past.
Well, yeah, I know. But like, what is their like actual class called?
Well,
Oh, it's a
I
CR class 812. Okay.
okay.
Caledonian Railway. So they were build day. Okay, so total produced 96 were produced.
Holy cow.
That's a ton. Okay, they were withdrawn in 1963 and preserved was number 828, which has a blue livery.
So
So-
that means that by 1968, when Southern Conflict ended, that means because the whole class, all the rest of their class was withdrawn by 63, and by 68, that was the year Southern Conflict ended. So that means that they're probably dead.
Okay, so no, so
Basically, yeah,
they made a lot, but how many exactly did they make? Okay, apparently they made
Actually, you know what? Actually, they're actually still alive. Do you know why I'm gonna say this?
one is still alive, but the other
you know why I'm-
652 locomotives are dead.
Guys, you know why I'm saying this? Even if they were withdrawn in 1963, but do you know how? Do you know
The
why?
other 90, the other
you know-
90.
I know, but do you know why I think they're still alive even after being withdrawn, Donald and Douglas?
Why?
So, around 1963 and 64, it took. All right, so how many years was that? That was it took 9 years for them to actually be scrapped. So even though they were withdrawn in 63 and 64, around that time period, even though they were withdrawn, it would take engines maybe 6, 7, 8 years to actually be scrapped in the scrapyard. So if anything,
Okay.
if Donald and Douglas was withdrawn in '63 in the Sudden Conflict universe, they're actually by the end of the series of Sudden Conflict, they're just sitting in the scrapyard, ready to be.
Okay. Okay, so 812, that's one of the classes, and then 652 is another one of the classes. So there were two classes that Donald and Douglas are. And I think are they like a hybrid of both, or are they just like, well, I don't know. But they're under the same Wikipedia. They're under the same Wikipedia page. All of the 652 locomotives were scrapped, and only one of the 812 were scrapped, and there were total produced all in one. There were, I want to say 96. Yeah, 96 of them produced of both.
Jeez.
So
Wow.
96 of them produced, and only one is left. That is crazy.
So then that
Well,
means that
I
Donald and
guess-
Douglas in the Sudden Conflict universe. Let me explain. In the Sudden Conflict universe, they're either dead or they're actually waiting in a scrapyard. Because, like I said, if they were actually withdrawn in 1963 and 64, 65,
Yeah.
around that area, like around those 3 years, because that's when they were, in general, steam locomotives were withdrawn in the 60s, around 63 to 65. It took them 6, 7, 8, 9 years for them to actually be scrapped. So they'd actually be waiting in the scrapyard. So that means Donald and Douglas were in the scrapyard waiting to be scrapped around when Southern Conflict actually ended in 1968. I think that's when Southern Conflict ended.
I guess that would be the case. I mean, there's really, I guess, in all honesty, I guess there really is no other option. I mean, if they did go, since they did go back, that's basically what comes next, really.
I think that. Okay, so what if number 812 for some reason is one of them in the Southern Conflict universe, and only one of them was saved and the other one was scrapped? Or they were just both scrapped, which that's probably what Turtles would have done.
I guess so.
Yeah, because Turtles is Turtles. He'll kill off any character.
So
I mean,
he
know.
killed off Robert Stewart, which I thought Phil
Was-
was going to die first, but
Yeah. Well, Phil did
Rest-
die in the same day, in the same hour, in the
well,
same episode.
yeah.
I know, but Robert at least went out with a fight. That's like
That's
Robert went out with
pure-
a bang.
That's pure dedication.
Yeah, pure
Yeah.
dedication.
That's pure, like pure.
That needs to be the slogan for this. Pure dedication.
Like pure.
Yes, pure
Here
Here we go again.
Pure dedication.
Yep,
Indeed.
it is. So, I guess we should just move on to, my final, to the final theory, which I have. Okay, I'll admit, there were 3 going through my head, but if we decide to do this again, because this actually is pretty fun, I'll save either one of them for another day.
Guys, I have the most serious theory out of all of them. What happened to the bee after James goes buzz buzz?
He
He's
died.
He died.
He's starting the bee movie. He's starting the bee movie, and that's where he went.
reason I say they died. If you look at
Save the bees.
if you search online about stinging things, they just die right after. So
Ugh.
literally
Literally, he
people.
died.
Hey.
literally after that.
So that was some pure dedication. Just to say.
Oh, by the way, fun fact, I've actually been stung by a bee before. Anyways, so yeah, okay, that was an interesting theory. But on to my theory, I think, is how did the Magic Railroad become to be? And this one is gonna. So you guys, you better sit down with a cup of coffee because we're gonna be discussing this for a while. So, here's what I think how the Magic Railroad became to be, because many people have been saying, how the heck is there a railroad that's run by a little purplish pinkish tank engine that for some reason became the magic engine of the Magic Railroad?
I think I have a theory for that as well.
Here,
say one
hold on,
thing
let
about
me
it.
let me give my explanation on why I want to talk about this theory. So, okay, so I think here's what happened. I think it was behind. I think that the conductor family needed something to take care of the gold dust because they couldn't take care of it because of the fact that with them traveling back and forth everywhere. So I think they put it in a. They built a sentient engine named Lady to keep the magic safe. And I think that her lining. Think about it. I think it used to be black. Then they stored the gold dust somewhere in Lady, and then all of her gold fixtures, like her little dome, her smoke box, the top of her funnel, her lamps, they became golden after the gold dust was inside of her. And so, and then one of the conductors needed someone to take care of the engine as well, and they hired Burnett Stone. But we'll get to that later. So they built a railroad. So they created a magic vortex with their gold dust and built a railroad line and decided to use buffers as a teleportation device.
I think the railroad was always there, and it's always been there, and it will always be there if the gold dust still exists. Not if Lady still exists, if the gold dust still exists. Because the gold dust has to exist for Lady to travel to the Magic Railroad.
And I guess in the movie Thomas and the Magic Railroad, the only way that Lady won't be able to get to Sodor and Mr. Conductor won't be able to go home is if the magic buffers are destroyed.
Right. And actually, just saying the Conductor family, I think I know why they said the Conductor family. Do you want to hear my theory about the Conductor family?
What?
All right, so you know how Ringo Starr, George Carlin, and Alec Baldwin, those three actors or celebrities, you know how they... Oh, no, hold on.
Wait, I'm gonna jump... Hold on, I'm just gonna... I know what you're getting at, and I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon with you and say I already agree.
I think they're three completely different Mr. Conductors, and I think...
They're all in like a family?
They're all like a family together. They're not the same Mr. Conductor. They're actually different Mr. Conductors. And when they say the Conductor family, I think they're referring to all the other Mr. Conductors.
Okay, so I also have a theory about that. All the narrators, whether RWS or TV series, they're all part of the Conductor family.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I guess so what I think is that okay, well, if the Magic Railroad always existed, even before Lady probably existed, or if she was destroyed, they at least had to, so wherever the magic buffers are actually located on Sodor, they had to build a railway line at least there.
Guys, so, if Mr. Conductor was translated in the UK version, it would be called Mr. Guard.
Wait, isn't that an American term? Surely his name should be Mr. Guard. Diesel D199 reference if you didn't understand me, people.
Mr. God.
But, yeah, which is why in my rewrite of Thomas and the Magic Railroad, there's going to be a scene with Percy and Toby, and Percy's like, why the heck is he called Mr. Conductor? Surely he should be called Mr. Guard. I think conductors are what they called guards where he's from.
Yeah, like... That would just be funny just calling him Mr. Guard or the Guard family.
Yeah, let's be real. That's the one UK term. I can accept like back controller and truck, but there's that one term that's never made sense because then again, I live in the US, of course, but Mr. Conductor
just makes so much more sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I have to agree with before we
I think I like Conductor better than Guard because I don't know what to think about the word guard. I mean,
the only time I hear the word guard is a bodyguard.
Exactly, like.
I mean, I like the term guard, and if you're gonna make a Sodor series, I would recommend using guard in the British terms instead of the American terms, because Sodor is set in the middle of Isle of Man and wherever
that is. Okay, that is true, but I think I'd pad it out and use both terms, if I'm being honest.
I'd use guard, because I like to keep it whatever. Even though I prefer the term conductor, I just don't really feel that it just doesn't, that word to me, calling a somebody. The word caboose and conductor just doesn't feel right to me on Sodor.
All right,
Question.
I would
Hold on.
never. All right, hold on.
Wait, I also have a
would
question
never-
though.
I would never use the word caboose. I would use brake van. But if I
Yes.
was referring to Mr. Conductor, I just call him Mr. Conductor. But in general, I would say guard.
We're looking at you. We're looking at you, Crazy Caboose Creations. Better turn your name to Crazy Brake Van Creations.
Crazy
So
brake van
you think
creation.
he's gonna comment on this and be like, no, that means his crazy caboose custom will have to be called the CBC.
So that
Which-
sounds like a
which
sounds like a
which-
corporation.
Which sounds like a television,
BCC.
CBC. PBC.
But anyways, so by the way, a question before we go on: is brake van the UK term and caboose the US term?
What? Well, repeat
Is-
that again.
Is caboose the US term and brake van the UK term?
Brake van is the UK term and caboose is the US term. I would
Okay,
never
because-
use caboose. I would use brake
Really?
van.
Because I thought they were. I thought they both applied. I thought they both applied in the U.S. as well. Because like, think about it. I think, like, hold on. Because I've heard George Carlin say the word caboose a few times. Like, but however, he said brake van a few times, right? Because like Toad, like they say, it'd be so weird if they called Toad a caboose. He is not a caboose. He's a brake van.
Toad the brake van, not Toad the caboose.
That's just weird on so many levels. But in all seriousness, back to the Magic Railroad theory, I think that I think it was built somehow, but like I know it may still exist, but if it did exist, I'm thinking about the realm that separates the real world with the island of Sodor. That realm, okay, of course, even though some people say the CGI in that was bad, I think it was pretty good in my opinion. Because
Here's
when
another.
when Lady is puffing through the Magic Railroad,
Yeah.
it just lights up, and it's just so beautiful to look at, though.
I've got another theory about Burnett Stone. So if you've watched Turtles and Thomas' series Sudden Conflict, which I'm about to reference again, and spoiler alert for anybody.
Well, okay, we told them spoiler alert. We don't get the
I'm
just still watching
just
this.
making sure. I'm just making sure.
I mean, I
people-
gave away the
people
biggest
don't
spoiler
listen.
alert.
people in the audience don't listen, so we gotta make sure that they listen.
Everybody watching that you have not seen
Once again,
we spoiled the biggest thing that we could spoil earlier.
once again, I have to tell these people in the audience, I have to tell our viewers again that this is a warning, and that we're literally telling them that we are about to spoil.
Robert Stewart died.
Exactly. So he died. So just making sure. If nobody's watched the rest of the series,
It's almost cooler knowing that because I knew Robert Stewart died when I watched the series because I got spoiled by that one turtle live stream. Anyway, but
I
I
didn't
know
know
that
that.
Robert Stewart. I know that. Okay, it's kind of cool watching the series knowing
before
Robert Stewart died.
Before Robert Stewart died, I didn't even think that he would. That was just
Wait,
unexpected.
wait! I just realized you supposed to seen Sundering Conflict.
Technically, it doesn't really matter for me.
Well, yeah, he kind of watched it out of order. So go watch Sins after this. Go watch Sins.
I've already watched that episode.
Oh, then he is. You watched Sins, but not the first.
I technically, okay, I'll admit I was kind of, like exaggerating when I said I didn't watch the first episode. I did see it. I just didn't really see many following up episodes after that.
Oh, at least
You
you've seen the
should've.
first episode, so you know how. Wait, the second episode is like the conflict begins. When like everything starts. Not the title, but that's like where the conflict begins.
Yeah.
But there
and,
is an episode called "The Conflict Begins," though.
Which is I really
alright.
like that episode.
Getting back to my theory on a useful theory, if you've watched one of the episodes of Turtles and Thomas' series Sudden Conflict, once again, spoiler alert, in one of the episodes you can see a man named Burnett Stone with a bottle, with long hair, he's a hippie, and he's like, oh man, this is a magic railroad. So like, What if Burnett Stone is just hallucinating and Magic Railroad is just a, you know,
Technically, that would be Britt Allcroft hallucinating because because she's the one who made the movie in the first place.
imagine like, you know what they should do in the Thomas and the Magic Railroad parody?
What?
They
What?
should make like they should make like Burnett Stone the character become a hippie, and creating the Magic Railroad was out of being hi.
Okay.
How much you wanna
Bet.
how much you wanna bet that Junior? I said this in Twitter. How much would you bet? We have not seen Magic Railroad parody going into this, so if I accidentally spoiled it,
the reason
I have no
say,
idea.
Guys, the reason I say that they should have added that is because think about it, Mr. Conductor, played by Robert, and if you don't know the man, his name is Wooden Ram Reviews, and I suggest you go subscribe to his channel, by the way.
Exactly.
Both him and Junior, also played by Vinny Smith, his YouTube channel's name is Mr. Conductor Fan 1406. Go
He's
subscribe to him
making
as
the
well.
movie.
He's making
Yeah,
the
he's
movie.
the one.
Go
And also-
subscribe. Go. I'm not done. Come on, man.
Dude, you've also interrupted me at times, so I also want
know,
to say that
I-
Junior is also the narrator. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, and go subscribe to those two's channel and make sure to watch the parody when it comes out. But my point is,
Yeah, because we watched the parody when it was coming out.
when
Yeah,
I saw bits of the parody, I realized that when they were writing Mr. Conductor and Junior as characters, they have a substance problem. Goldust is actually not the Goldust we know from the Magic Railroad movie, but in their parody, it's
Some drugs.
yep.
Don't do
Like-
drugs, kids.
Yeah.
So if that's already a drug parody, then why you might as well have Burnett Stone a hippie, and coming up
That'd be
with
so fun. That'd be so funny to have the old man that plays Burnett. I know, like, the joke about Burnett being an old man and, like, how he's walking all slow and stuff.
yeah. No,
like,
but
I found that kind of funny.
and also because in the flashback scenes of Burnett Stone's in the flashback scenes of the parody, because it takes place in like 1969. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched the parody. Once again, if it takes place in 1969, you should literally just have Burnett Stone, transition as a hippie as when he was a kid. So
Yeah,
talk-
I can see that.
Can we
So-
talk about, I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I know this is a kind of a Magic Railroad kind of themed episode, it's kind of an episode, but I kind of want to mention this here. Did you watch TWA 1945 Studios, his rewrite, which is not like the funny parody version?
Or probably
And-
not going to be like Epic Entertainment Films' version.
I have not watched that. What is it?
Well, I did.
It's good. It does not it's not meant to be cinematic. It's made like a Thomas and Friends episode to look like a Thomas and Friends episode.
Hmm.
Or at least that's what
Yeah.
they were trying to do with it, because you can tell. Or at least
I
that's
don't
what I
mind it.
interpreted for it. I think that style really works.
I think that was pretty. I think it was pretty
It
good.
works for that. But
Like, okay, so I think that it. Okay, so
all we need are 2 rewrites. We need no more or no less.
we need more rewrites. We need way more.
I think, well, you can only do so much. You're going to introduce Schemer, you're going to introduce PT Boomer, the Magic Railway is going to come back, the thing. You don't put your own twist on it, like the episode thing, or like the parody thing. It's unoriginal and it becomes a ripoff.
Guys, so
technically,
I watched
I
the
mean-
director's cut. I have watched the director's cut, and you know what?
It's just a work print.
I've always
Yeah.
wanted to know what PT Boomer was and what type of character he was and what type of storyline he was a part of.
Like,
And guess what? After I didn't know who he was. I was always assuming he was a cool character, but actually watching the director's cut, I officially think he's one of the coolest villains in the Thomas Tank Engine universe.
it's really stupid though, because he walks around with his hands up like punching the air.
Yeah, that's retarded, really. That part
Can't
was
say
retarded.
that.
Other than that, though, other than the stupid punching in the air, I think I think
Like,
PT
threatens
Boomer is
Pat
cool.
with, like,
I think he's a cool
who
villain.
could help me blow up a mountain and cause me to go to jail if you want money. But we need more parodies. We need
Also-
more parodies of other films.
Also, I
Well,
don't know.
Gordon, I hate
Guys.
to bust your buffers, but I'm already writing my movie for that. So
Guys,
technically-
I just want to say
I'm not
one more
stopping
thing about.
production.
I want to say one more thing about PT Boomer. See, all right, when they said that, he was too scary. How is he scary when he's punching in the air like an
Like,
idiot?
what the actual fuck?
Like,
That doesn't
come
make
on.
sense.
Like,
It's official. Those soccer moms were strung out that day.
yep, they probably were. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand about that.
First of all, how do you
yeah.
find a fat old man punching in the air scary? Like, how do you find that scary?
And it's not the fat controller we're talking about. It's,
No, it's not the fat. It's PT Boomer.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Also,
how do you find that funny? I mean, how do you find that scary? That's just stupid, really.
yeah, what the heck?
Soccer moms.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think we should really get back on track here, and I'm thinking about wrapping up like how the Magic Railroad came to be and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
I guess in like wrapping it up wise, I think that there's also could be like another way like the conductor family had help from Sir Topham Hatt, probably Sir Topham Hatt to help build the railroad in a way, and also maybe like Mr. Conductor got in contact with Billy Two Feathers as well on the other end. But okay, so in the movie Thomas and the Magic Railroad, of course we see the Magic Railroad, it's all run down because Lady is not running on it. Maybe there was a Magic Railroad, it was full of life, and then when Lady started running on it more often, it actually got more powerful. But then when she crashed from either Diesel 10 or PT Boomer crashing her, and her face faded away along with the magic that she supplied for the railroad. And
Guys, do you want to know what greases my oil?
what?
When people say that the engines have blood, and which is another theory that I want to discuss about.
Oh yeah, but I think we should do that in another episode.
No.
I think we should wrap this up.
Guys,
Yeah,
this is quick. This is quick. Hold on.
Bruh. Come on.
I have one thing to say. It's
Let me.
The engine's gone.
guys, wait. Wait. Hold on. Just wait. Guys, all right. So the engine's face, it's not skin, it's a flexible metal. They
Bro, their faces are like moist. Like they're wet.
guys,
Like mushy.
the reason that they blush is because of the heat from their the tubes inside their smoke box. And the other thing is that their face, even though it looks like skin, this is gonna be very strange, okay, what I'm about to say. But the engine's face, the reason it's flexible as skin is because it's a flexible type of metal, and their face, inside their face is like these mechanical things that makes their eyes open and their mouths talk open.
You mean like they have like servos inside their face that makes their eyes move in a weird way, and all parents and kids get scared of it because their mouths don't move?
Their mouths do move.
No, they don't.
Not-
Every soccer mom can prove about Scary Thomas theories that the engine's mouths do not move. And also Pyro, the Japanese engine.
No, I'm talking about in the Thomas Tank Engine universe. If they're talking, if their eyes move, not when I don't mean the eyeballs. I'm not talking about the classic era, but let's just say in the CGI era. Right, in the CGI era, their faces are probably made out of flexible metal mesh.
All right then.
Metal of some kind. And the reason that they can blush is because of the heat from their, I don't know, smoke box or something.
I just had a thought. What if the engines and mouths don't move in real life, and you'll stare at them, and then they'll be looking down at you with a soulless face, and then it fades into a different face, a different face mask.
Oh my god,
While they're
that
looking
sounds.
straight at you.
No, God,
I'm thinking
no.
of Oliver, right? Or like Diesel 10's shocked face. He goes from his smiley face to his shocked face. It like fades.
Oh my God.
It's like in the
No,
classic series where you know how they switch through faces where they keep the same shot, they just fade and it looks like their faces are like changing. That's what I
by
think.
the
Like,
way-
what if that happens in real life and you just see that?
Oh, by the way, in that scene where Diesel 10 rushes by Thomas and Gordon, how the heck Gordon go to his like, oh well, to his oh my God face? Like, how the heck did they do that?
It fades. It like fades. It like changes. Like it fades to a different
Of
face.
course.
Wait.
And
Can you repeat that? Because I think I know how they did it. Just repeat that one more time. What did Gordon do?
Okay, so when Diesel 10 rushes by Thomas and Gordon in the beginning of Thomas and the Magic Railroad, how does Gordon go to his like, whatever, to his oh my God face?
In like 2
editing.
seconds.
Editing. It's called editing.
But how do they make it so clean?
I don't know. Just good editing.
No,
Or they did
because they
something.
just they it's called switching a face mask.
Yeah, but how'd they do that in that quick
Very
amount of
quickly.
time?
All right. So I think maybe what they did was they probably like shot 2 videos.
Two
of
different
Diesel
videos
10.
with 2 different faces.
Yeah. That's probably what they did. So they shot two clips on 35mm of either Diesel 10 passing by Gordon or something. They obviously did something. It's just some camera trick that I don't even know, or some editing trick I don't even know. I know for a fact that it is related to something about, camera tricks and editing tricks. I just don't know what it's called.
It's just a cut.
Yeah, but yeah.
Okay, anyway, okay,
Interesting.
I think we need to wrap up today's episode.
So let me just quickly get done with my theory, and then I'll cue us out. So anyways, guys, bottom line is, I think the Magic Railroad is sentient for the fact that the conductor family must have built it in a way that it's kind of like an indestructible railway. No matter what you do, it won't ever fade away. It won't ever probably be gone forever. So yeah, I think that's basically wrapping up my theory on that. But yeah, so I think we talked about some pretty interesting theories here today. If you guys have your own theories,
except for
we talked about Smudger was made up in my opinion.
I think he was real.
Okay, let's save this for another episode. Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
So guys,
Yeah.
okay. So thank you guys for watching another episode of the Disgraceful, Disgusting, Despicable podcast. I'm Useful11, aka Useful.
I'm the Sudrian,
I'm
aka
Gordon,
aka the Dawn of Sodor. Or
I'm Gordon,
Sudrian.
aka at Fan04 Gordon.
And thank you guys for watching. So we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Where we
Peace.
talk about the greatest aquarium carps. The wooden railroad.
Yeah. Look out for that one.
Yeah,
Look out
yeah.
for that one. And then
Well,
intro plays.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what, guys? You know what, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna repeat, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I'm the Sudrian. That was Useful Engine 11. That was my other guy, Gordon Fan 04. And
Yes, guys.
This was
So,
this was a very disgraceful, disgusting, and despicable podcast. And now
Yes.
now it's time for all of us to go home.
Just like Thomas.
Just like Percy.
No, Gordon, shut up.
Okay, you need to end it.